I am so happy to be here tonight talking with Monica Wright, the Executive Director of the Enfield Safe Harbor Warming Center. It is such a wonderful organization, and this is a chance for me to get to know her and for you to get to know her too. So if you have questions, pop them below. But in the meantime, hi Monica, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that you came. So my first question, let's just jump right in. What would you say is the primary mission of the Enfield Safe Harbor Warming Center?
So our primary mission is to help the homeless community here in Enfield not only get into the resources that they need to find permanent housing, but also to help them and let them know that they're not forgotten, that we are definitely here for them.
Yeah. How did you get involved in the organization? Yeah. How long have you been executive director, and how did you get involved?
So I've been doing this for 5 years since we began. And how I got involved was I volunteered my time in the beginning because homelessness is really near and dear to my heart. You know, I've had family members who are homeless, and, in my situation, things have happened, and I just kind of wanted to get involved and give back to the community. So that's how I became involved with Enfield Safe Harbor.
That's great. Have you done a lot of, so now you're the executive director. Have you done a lot of the different, I imagine that there are, most of the volunteers at the beginning do a lot of different things to have the opportunity to experience every different thing. So if somebody wanted to come in and volunteer, how would they start? What would be, or do you give people the opportunities to decide, or is there sort of like an entry into volunteering for the organization?
So we actually give people the opportunity to decide, because we have so many volunteer opportunities that are available for people, from goods and needs to fundraising to our overnights to even helping out getting supplies to the guests. So wherever they feel that they're going to fit in, I just tell them, just come on in and make it work.
If they choose to work in the overnight services, is there training? How does that happen? Because that's more involved, because that's working directly with people. What kind of training is there, and how do you help them know how to do that?
Yeah, good question. So what we do is, those who want to work overnight and stay with the guest, we do have a training that I usually run just to let people, just to give them the idea and the feel of what it is to deal with people who are homeless, some of the issues and challenges that they deal with as being homeless, and also just how to be able to maintain your composure, kind of keep those healthy boundaries, and not to take it home with you while you're helping out someone else.
That's great, because especially if you don't have any experience with it, I'm sure it's difficult to understand the right way, the wrong way, how to do it. So that's great. So we all know this has been an incredibly difficult year in so many ways. So how has the Warming Center handled the challenges of 2020 in the pandemic?
So this year, because of the pandemic, we weren't able to open up overnights as we've done previously in the past, which is our model. So this year we decided to open up an outreach and engagement center where those homeless people who are out and about target those that are staying in the woods, under the bridges, out in the cold. They can not only come in and get that opportunity to find shelter, but we also, had tents and sleeping bags, blankets, clothing, other supplies that they need to help them get through the winter months. And I like to say that at the end of this season, we had 70 people come through that engagement center. We serviced 4 families, 11 children. And I'm happy to say that everyone who came through the engagement and outreach center, they were housed in shelter to keep them safe this winter. Some did choose to stay in their cars, so we made sure they had blankets. We made sure that they had provisions to make them as comfortable as possible. So, and it was a success.
That sounds like a success. So who did you work with? Like, it must have been a really a joint effort. Did you work with the city? How did that all come together?
So it's just like we have some of the best volunteers, and we also have two great women, Pat Banning and Sue Carlo, who put it all together with all the supplies to make sure that we had enough socks and sleeping bags. And we just did it ourselves. And, we just kind of got in there and did the work ourselves. And we made it happen.
Wow, that's amazing. It goes to show you that determined people can do a lot, really.
Absolutely.
When the mindset is there, the way becomes visible, I think.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that you help families, you had a lot of different people come in. So who does the warming center help?
So our goal is in our target are the homeless people here in Enfield, but we're here to serve anyone who's in need. Mm-hmm. I mean, a story was that one night we were sitting in the warming center, and an older lady came in the warming center, and she was really, broke up and upset. And she said, well, I saw the light on and I just wanted to come downstairs. I said, well, are you homeless? She said, no, I just need somewhere to sit. Oh. So I said, you know what, just come on in. So it's like that place of refuge for those who just, we're here.
Right. You feel lonely. Sadly, that is such a part of our culture that people are lonely and just need that human connection. So exactly. That's great. So in terms of the pandemic, have you had any success getting the vaccine out to people you serve, or what does that look like? Has that been part of what your services are?
So I'm glad you asked that question, because this year and I was so excited about it, and it just did my heart good, because we were able to work with the public health department here in Enfield, Connecticut, and Pat Sulik, who's the director, and we were able to get those homeless people who wanted to get vaccinated, not only the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but we were able to get it done, and they had it for free. So when the winter season came to an end and they had to leave the shelters, not only were they safe, but but also the community was safe too. So that was something that, we really wanted to work on this year.
Oh yeah, there must have been a lot of moving parts involved in getting that done. That's amazing.
There was a lot of moving parts, but it was a labor of love. It was a little stressful for a minute trying to get everybody together, but once we got it together, and they were so grateful.
Right. I bet.
Someone cared enough about them to make sure that they had the vaccine. So
and they feel safe and comfortable. And so I know that the world is starting to open again, and that a lot of people have received the vaccine, but you're right. It's important to remember that, to make sure it's available to everybody. Absolutely. So you talked a lot of different things that you've been working on this year, sort of pivoting a little bit. I guess pivot's the word of the year for 2020, to change a little bit. So you talked a little bit about the services that you provided this year, but in a normal year, what types of services does the Warming Center provide? So what would be a normal interaction, or in a normal year, what would it be like?
So in a normal year, what we do is we offer a warm, safe space for the homeless to stay overnight. And we use the space at Holy Trinity Church on Hazard Avenue. I mean, they've been really awesome. And not only do we give them a safe space to stay overnight, but we also supply them with clothing, with hot meals that are provided by area restaurants who donate to us. And we also get them connected with agencies like Department of Social Services, Community Health Resources, so that they are in the system and able to find permanent housing.
Right, that's great. So that brings up the next question. How are you funded? How are you able to provide all these great services?
So we have wonderful donors. We have wonderful volunteers. I can tell you the community here in Enfield is awesome. And they really answered the call whenever we put it out. Most of our funding is from private donations, businesses, little, everyday people doing everyday things. And that's how we run. We have clothing drives and food drives. And it's just amazing how the residents of Enfield just come in and just help us out.
That's great. That's excellent. So if someone's watching now and they want to know more, they'd like to know how they can help. How can they help? How can they find you? And what's the next step for them?
So anyone who wants to help, we have our Facebook page, which is Enfield Safe Harbor Warming Center. And we also have, we're working on Twitter, we're working on our YouTube page, but anyone who wants to get involved, they can definitely give me a call. My number is 860-970-9065. They can leave me a message on our Facebook page, and I'll be more than happy to, talk with them and just, answer any questions that they have. That's how we get our donations. Anyone who would like to donate, more than welcome to get in contact with me, and we can take the next step from there.
Do you have any fundraisers coming up? Is there anything planned? I know it's been hard because you can't do in-person events, but
yeah, it has been hard, but we persevered. And like I said, we have good people here. They are working on a couple of events. You can definitely see our website at EnfieldSafeHarbor.org, or again, our Facebook page, and it'll give you all the information about any upcoming fundraisers, any needs that we may have for the warming center, or even if you just want a little bit more information.
Yeah, you know what? And we'll post the link to the website in the comments, so
Great.
people are looking for that. So before we end for tonight, is there anything else you want people to know that you think would be important for them to find out from you, about you, or about the organization tonight?
I just want to say that, now things are opening up, and restrictions are being lifted off evictions and moratoriums. There are going to be people out there who are in need. And not only are we open the winter months, but we help 365 days a year. And we're asking anyone who can just help us out. Donations, just you want some information, and just understand that even though the pandemic is slowing down, it's not over, and that the homeless are still out there. Remembering that a lot of things that they were used to doing before the pandemic, they can no longer do. And, just to be mindful.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to end. So thank you so much for talking to me tonight. It's been great getting to know you. And again, we will post the link to the website, and you can contact Monica here too, right on this Facebook page. She'd be happy to contact you and find out how you can help the warming center. And that's it for tonight. So thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.